Now, when you have the FRFR speaker on the stage with you or in front of you, and you're using a house PA system, you have the benefit of getting a great sound out in the audience, as well as having some stage volume. If they don't have monitors, that's a big plus. If they have monitors, you're not only going to hear your amp behind you, but you're going to hear the stage monitors in front of you, which is going to give you the mix of the entire band. Now, let's say all you have is the FRFR speaker. You're doing maybe like a coffee house gig or something like that. You can still get a great sound out of the FRFR speaker. You want to adjust your playing, or your patch rather, for how you're going to be playing, what environment you're going to be in. So when you're building these patches on your modeler, what you really want to do, ideally, is be able to have them at the volume you're going to be playing at. Now, no one expects you to crank your amplifier up super, super loud, like as if you were on stage. But what you don't want to do is have it so low where it just sounds good, but no one else can hear you. That's no bueno, okay? You want to have it at a decent volume, because as volume increases or decreases, so does the EQ, what your ear perceives. That's called the Fletcher-Munson curve. That's a little science for you. I'm not going to really get into that stuff. You can look it up on Google and all that stuff. But ideally, you want to have your volume at a decent level, okay, before you start building your rig and all that stuff. And there's a little tip for you. When you're going, when you're building these sounds, your presets, you want to consider the environment you're going to be playing in. I think I alluded to that a little while ago. But for some people, if you're in a cover band and you have certain sounds that you have to get out of your modeler for certain songs, you might not be able to use the same exact amp and cab and EQ for those songs. So you're going to have to play around with that a little bit. The easier thing to do is just get a great amp sound that you can use across the board for any of your presets. Have a good clean sound, have a good crunch sound, and have a good lead sound, and then use that across the board. For instance, for the way I work is I have a preset, and I will build it, let's say I'm building it using my FRFR cab, okay? So I get a decent sound out of that. And then what I do is I make a copy of that preset. So I start using it like a template, and I rename it for something. So let's say I'm going to use the 4-cable method. Say sometimes, you know, if I don't, you know, my FRFR speaker craps out on me, and I have to use my amp, and I have to go 4-cable method. I use that same template I had, set it up with the amp 4-cable method, and then I adjust the EQ on that new preset that I just created, and then I save it. So now I have two presets, one that I can use for FRFR, another one that I can use for 4-cable method, and it's the same rig though. I've got all the same effects in there and the same amp and the same cab. All I'm doing is changing the EQ to adjust to that situation. And the same thing applies if you're going direct into a mixing console or you're going front of the house out to the PA. You can create a preset for that as well. So actually what I have is I have 3 copies of my rig designed to work in different situations. So if something happens, you know, literally at the drop of a hat, I can just pull up that preset for that environment and it works great. Okay? The other thing you want to consider is, I'll just pick a guitar here, okay? So when you're building your presets, build them with the same guitar you're going to be playing out live with, okay? Nothing is worse than building a preset on one guitar and then you go out and play a live gig using a different guitar and all of a sudden it doesn't sound the same. Well, of course it doesn't sound the same. You have different pickups. You have different output on the pickups. A completely different bird we're talking about. So build your presets using the instrument that you're going to be playing out live with, okay? That's pretty much it, you know, and I would love to hear your comments, your feedback. Don't make any comments about my old band's album thing there. I know it's a little off, so anyway, I hope this helped. See you soon.